Hi there. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Julie DiMatteo from thepaperpixie.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the US, and in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a tunnel box card. This is way easier than it looks, and I want to give a shout out to Sam Calcott at Mixed Up Craft for the idea. I've Pixie-fied it to a smaller size to fit into a regular medium envelope, so this is easy to mail. I absolutely love the look of this with the monochromatic color scheme, a little bit of texture on the front, and then that bold pop of a sentiment in the inside of the tunnel. And I promise you this is really easy to make, so let me show you how. We're going to start with a piece of Pool Party cardstock that measures 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches. It's exactly a half sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. And we're going to score this at 4 1/4, 5 1/4, 9.5, and 10.5. I have 2 more pieces of cardstock, Coastal Cabana and Bermuda Bay. Both of these pieces measure 4 1/4 by 5. And on each of these pieces, I'm going to score at 4 5/8 of an inch from each side on the long side. So make sure you're on the 5-inch side, score it at 4 5/8 from each end. That's just easier than trying to come in here and score at 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the Bermuda Bay piece, 4 5/8 of an inch on either side of the long side. There are 2 more pieces of cardstock that you'll need, one of the Pool Party that measures 4 inches by 4 inches, and one of Basic Black, also 4 inches by 4 inches. And we're going to start with our long Pool Party piece. For this project, we're going to be using the Blessings of Home stamp set. I love the sentiment. Thank you for inspiring me. We're going to sort of dissect that for the card. And then we're going to be using our layering circles dies. And I've opted to go with these 3 circle dies, and they measure approximately 2 7/8 in diameter, 2 1/8 in diameter, and 1 3/8 in diameter. We're going to start with the biggest circle, and I'm going to grab my handy Post-it tape here. I'm going to do my best to center this circle within this square here. It's the one closest to the 1/2-inch side here on the right. So go ahead and center that, and then I'm just going to use my Post-it tape to tack that die down, and I'm going to run that through my machine. Now hang on to your Post-it tape so you can reuse it. We're going to hang on to this circle die cut. I'll show you at the end a project that I created using the circles. While we've got the larger circle die out, I'm going to bring in our 4-inch by 4-inch piece of Pool Party, and I'm just going to eyeball this one again, trying to get it in the center as best I can. We're going to die cut this, and then I'm also going to run it through the machine with our Tasteful Textile embossing folder to give it a little bit of texture. Now here is what that piece looks like with some texture. This is the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder. I love this one for adding some subtle texture. And for this one, I'm just going to adhere it right on the front here. I'm just going to grab my liquid glue and layer that down. And that's just going to give a little pop of texture to the front. Now, we're ready to cut our next layer, which is going to be the Coastal Cabana, and that's going to be the middle size circle die. And to line this one up, I like to line up these score lines with these score lines to get those to line up. This is going to help us sort of place that circle die, so I'm bringing that in and centering it in that circle. Again, grabbing the Post-it tape to tack that into place. And then I'm going to run this through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Again, hang on to that circle as well as the Post-it tape and reuse it if you can. Then we're going to cut the Bermuda Bay with our smallest circle and lining it up in the same way, lining up those score lines. Circle die here in the center. Tack it down, and then I'm going to run this one through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine as well. All right, so again, hold on to that circle piece, and now we've got all of our pieces and parts ready to start assembling. We're going to do one more thing and flip this over. We're going to add our sentiment first before we add this together. So what I like to do is take the Bermuda Bay piece. Now again, we're on the back side of our card. I'm going to line up those score lines here. One score line with the edge and the other with this first score line to the left. And this is going to help us place our sentiment. Now I have heat embossed in white on Basic Black the sentiment, "Thank you for inspiring me," from Blessings of Home, and we're going to cut this sentiment apart. I just want to grab the words thank and you so that we can place that in the inside of our tunnel here. Grabbing 3 dimensionals, I'll put 2 on the back of thank and 1 on the back of you. Again, making sure this is lined up, and now we can place our sentiment. Now it's okay if the corners of the word thank and the corners of the word you look like they are overlapping the Bermuda Bay piece, you can just strategically kind of slip and slide it out of the way. All right, now let's go ahead and fold and burnish on all of our score lines. All right, now we're gonna start with our pool party piece here on the bottom. The first piece that we want to glue down is going to be the one that you're going to have in the back. That's going to be the one with the smallest circle. In our case, it's the Bermuda Bay piece. I'm going to put liquid glue right here along this left edge. We're actually going to flip it over then and line up this edge right here up to that score line, like that, okay? So let's take liquid glue and run that right along this little 3/8 of an inch edge. Sometimes it's easier if you turn it sideways, and again, I've sort of flipped it over this way. We're gonna line up this edge right there along the score line. And the liquid glue works really well here because we can slide things right into place. You can use tear and tape as well, but just remember you don't really have a second chance once you lay that down. All right, so we've adhered that, and I'm just gonna fold that kind of up and out of the way. We're gonna repeat the same thing on the Coastal Cabana piece, again, putting liquid glue here along the left edge. We're going to flip it over, and again, this cut edge we're going to butt up right to the fold of the Bermuda Bay. There we go. We'll give that a chance to adhere, kind of fold that flat and out of the way, and then look what happens with these edges here. If I open those out, you'll see that those are lining up right next to each other, and that is the perfect spot for us to finish off this card. You're not going to believe how easy this is to go together. Take your liquid glue and just run it along those two 3/8 of an inch sections on the Coastal Cabana and the Bermuda Bay. Everything is folded flat right now. I'm going to then fold on this score line that we see right here, and I'm going to press everything flat. And that's going to pick up the Coastal Cabana and Bermuda Bay right where we need it to. Give that a good amount of time to adhere. And then when I open this up, you'll see that those are right in the right position. How cool is that? The last thing we need to do to close off this tunnel box card is to adhere this section. So look how easy this is. I'm gonna open up this flap. I'm folding it flat here. So really on the second score line, liquid glue right along this 1/2 inch tab. And then I'm gonna fold here on that first score line to close off that tunnel box card. And I'm gonna flip it over and pop it up. How cool is that? Now we can fold it both directions. And I think this needs one little piece of bling. I'm gonna grab a large rhinestone. I'm gonna fold this flat to the left and then just pop a rhinestone right there to the left of the sentiment, thank you. Pop that back up, and there is our tunnel box card. Now before you're done, you wanna take your 4x4 inch piece of basic white cardstock, and you can write your sentiment first if you want to. And then what we're gonna do is adhere it to the back of the card using multi-purpose liquid glue. And then we can just fold this flat to get that lined up right where we want it. Just like so. Perfect spot to write a little note to the recipient. But look at how awesome that looks. Now to prove that this will fit in a medium envelope, let me show you. You can fold it either to the left or to the right, and that will slip right inside of one of our medium envelopes. Perfect for sending in the mail. How cool is that? Now I told you I'd share with you a project you could create using these circles that you cut out. And here is a split circle technique card. All I simply did was cut each of these circles in half and layered them strategically with the sentiment covering the seam of the two half circles being placed together. And you've got a perfect coordinating card for another occasion without any cardstock waste. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss my next video. If you're interested in purchasing any of the Stampin' Up! Products I used today, they'll be linked in the description. And I'll also include a link to my detailed blog post with all project measurements and details. I'd love to have you come visit me at thepaperpixie.com, where I post projects to inspire you. And if you don't want to miss a thing, you can subscribe to receive blog updates via email, and you'll receive an email each time I publish a new post. You can shop Stampin' Up! With me anytime at thepaperpixie.com/shop. And if you're interested in a discount on your Stampin' Up! Purchases, the starter kit is the ultimate bundle, and it's a great way to fulfill your wish list for less. You can purchase the starter kit at thepaperpixie.com/join, and I'd love to welcome you to my team of Paper Pixies and the Stampin' Up! Family. If you don't already have a demonstrator and you'd like complimentary copies of our current catalogs, you can submit a catalog request at thepaperpixie.com/happymail. And if you give this project a try, I'd love to see what you made, so feel free to share it on social media with the hashtag #PaperPixie, and I'll be sure to check it out. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Take care. Bye.